This video might go a little long, we'll see, but I hope you'll indulge me because I think it's an important one. Kevin Lozer, who is one of the co-founders of Holistiplan, his last day at the company was at the end of January, so I'm recording this a couple days later, 2024. It was just the two of us when we started the company, and I wanted to take a moment to thank him, and this is something that I was going to do as like an all-hands meeting with the whole staff, but there's so many stakeholders involved with Holistiplan, involved in our story, that I wanted more people to hear us say thanks to him. So here we are through the power of YouTube saying thank you. There's two things in particular I want to thank Kevin for. One of them is very personal to me, and one of them is on behalf of the company. I'll start with the former, the one that's personal to me, because I think it's a good segue into the second one. So I got to roll the tape back a little bit. At the end of 2017, I just turned 40, and I quit my job as a financial advisor, something I'd done for almost 10 years. It just wasn't, I knew it wasn't the career that I was going to be in long term. And I decided that there was something else that was out there for me. I didn't know what it was, so I quit with no job lined up. And in fact, I remained unemployed for an entire year after that point. I didn't know it would go that long. I did try to start a business during 2018. It was like a direct-to-consumer, choose-your-own-adventure, build-your-own financial plan sort of thing, and it just really failed pretty miserably. And I can laugh about it now, but that was really hard. I mean, to be just sitting in your house all by yourself, unemployed, and just kind of failing is really, it wears on you. And so I hit the end of the year 2018. Now I'm 41, and I'm like, okay, I don't have it in me to start a business, clearly, so I guess I'll go get a job. And I'm like, what am I going to do for a job? I don't want to be a financial advisor anymore. That's the thing I've done for the last decade of my life. I really like computer programming, but I'm a self-taught computer programmer. I'd never worked in a company doing it before, so I'm like, who's going to hire this 41-year-old dude who's never done it before? I did look around a little bit. In fact, I did try to talk to some people even within the fintech world, and yeah, nobody interested. Nobody interested in what I had to offer. So I was really, really down. So I'd already come off a really rough year, and then in the first couple months of 2019, just really, really down and not believing in myself. And fortunately for me, this is where Kevin comes into the story. Fortunately for me, Kevin and I had been in a study group for a number of years. And so when I say study group, NAPFA, the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, fantastic organization. They have a culture of encouraging these study groups, people who are at similar stages of their careers, people who have similar business goals, those sorts of things. And these study groups meet on their own and they talk about whatever is on their minds. And I had been in one of these with Kevin for a number of years. So he had kind of watched me as I gave updates on this kind of my process of quitting my job as an advisor, this year in the wilderness, me getting even lower, and me basically giving up. And he came to my rescue, and he said, in that moment when I'm like, I got nothing to offer, he's like, no, there's something here. And he said, actually, I'm really interested in some of these things too. I'm really interested in, is there something we can do with software to help financial advisors? By this time I had thought about maybe I could do something to help financial advisors instead of direct to consumer. And he said, yeah, there's something there. Like financial planning in particular is super duper inefficient. And so that's what I have to thank him for, is like I was in a really kind of bad, dark place. And that's exactly when he came in and kind of saved me from that and gave me this opportunity to start a business, to start Holistiplan. And of course, that's the thing that we have to thank him for. I'll talk a little bit about that founding, those first few weeks. So, suddenly there's someone, now I have a partner in this, and I just had this new energy. And so I'm out there, I'm like, okay, I'm going to build what we're talking about. We're going to make financial advisors more efficient. And so I, was working, 20 hours a day straight, day after day after day. It may have only been a week or two. And so I come back to Kevin with what I think Holistiplan should be. And it was like this web page. Well, to back up, I was really enamored at the time with the idea that there's something that what my friend Dr. Nathan Harness, he runs the financial planning program at Texas A&M. He talks about normative practices, and professions have normative practices, meaning if you have a certain fact pattern, think of going to your doctor, a certain fact pattern, is there one set of heuristics you can follow? And there's always one recommendation that comes out of that fact pattern. At the time, I believed that was a thing that existed. I'm not sure I believe that anymore. So, but thinking of that, I was like, okay, I'm going to build Holistiplan to just be tons of data that you learn about your client, and then you can come up with these recommendations. And so I come back to Kevin, and this is only a mild exaggeration. I had this web page with like 75 fields that you had to enter. And we were only looking at auto and umbrella at this time, not tax. And I'm like, hey, Kevin, I thought it was just a design type question. Kevin, what do you think? We going to have the advisor fill in all these 75 fields, or do you think we'll have to make a portal and then like clients will fill it out about themselves? And Kevin is like, Kevin's good at pouring cold water on stuff. He's like, nobody is going to fill in 75 freaking fields on your ugly web page. And he was totally right. Like, we're trying to make financial planning easier on people, and here's me making web pages with 75 manual fields to fill in. So if he hadn't helped me course correct in that moment, we'd probably have, first of all, 0 customers and, I don't know, 100,000 fields on some web page at this point. So Kevin steered us in a different direction. He was like, look, this information is out there. There's information in the CRM. There's information that we could download. This was maybe a little naive on our parts. We thought we could just download your insurance information from some source. It's not that simple, we learned. What I really remember was in his email, we were exchanging emails at this time, and he's like, this really helped crystallize in my mind what Holistiplan could be. And it was a really simple thing. He's like, when I'm reviewing an auto insurance policy, I ought to be able to click a button, and I ought to get the Kelley Blue Book value of that vehicle that is under that insurance policy. Something we still haven't built, by the way. But it was just such a simple idea, and it made so much sense to me. And so those of us for whom Holistiplan has made some impact on our lives or our business, what we have to thank Kevin for is this idea of maybe it shouldn't be thousands and thousands of fields that you enter in manually, but something where it's us pulling data from other sources and then using it downstream in the ways that we do. So anyway, that's just one of many things that we can thank Kevin for. Just as we roll the tape forward, as we were starting this business, he and I have very complementary skills, which is really valuable for us in the early days. I can program computers. That was a thing that I could do. And then Kevin, since he's better than me at like talking to human beings, he did things like start up our support organization, sales, marketing, legal, finance. He built the beginnings of all of those departments of our company. And I was able to go do the thing that I'm good at, which is building the product, writing the code. And so great division of resources there. We also have a good, and I think this is even more important, we have complementary personalities as well, and specifically around the area of product. So I mean, I'm the dreamer. Like for me, like every week there's like 15 new things that I think that we ought to go do and build in the product. And like, I just can't help myself. There's always more I want to do. And Kevin, like I said, he can throw cold water on anything, but he's focused. He's all about, we need to be very good at the things that we do before we do other things. And of course, those two personalities, we could drive each other nuts, right? Because it's like oil and water. But here's the thing that I think is really important, is we both were right? I think a technology company needs both of those yin and yang, needs both of those viewpoints, because to be a great software company, technology company, you have to have that engine that's driving the innovation forward, that's moving ideas forward, going where your customers are, listening to them, but also taking them to a new place. But then without the focus, that engine just keeps spinning without a governor to slow it down and keep it under control, it flies apart. And so the two of us together, I think, made for a really, really excellent team in those first few years as we were developing what the company was going to do, what the product was going to do. So if we're such good partners, like why did he leave? Why is he leaving? Well, here's another piece to our founding story. We made a promise to each other from day one. We're a couple dudes, we're in our 40s, right? It's not like we got one foot in the grave, but also we're at a stage of our lives and our careers where we have to make decisions. We have to think about what's important to us. And we said to each other, we made a promise, we're only going to do this as long as we're having fun. And in our meetings with each other in those early days, we would literally say at the end of the meeting, are you still having fun? Are we having fun here? And over time, by the way, for me, still having a ton of fun. This is the best job I've ever had. I love what we're doing, where we're going. But over time, it was harder and harder for Kevin to say yes to that question. And I understand why. I mean, like, we're a different company than we were in those early days, right? We've got dozens of people now. We spend an inordinate amount of time looking at contract language. And last month there was something that went weird with the dental insurance. You know, like those are the sorts of like big company things that start to happen as you go from startup in a garage to a scale up business. And that's not for everybody. And to Kevin's credit, he recognized that was happening. And so all of those areas that he had, you know, responsibility for, he brought up new leaders to take those pieces over, people who've grown into those roles and have contributed to our company in incredible ways. And so Kevin, over the last, I don't know, year or so, has been more in a advisory type role for us. But eventually the choice was made. He made the choice that, you know, I'm gonna step away, and so we support that choice. Obviously, we can call on him whenever we can, but, you know, I'm proud of him for making that choice for himself and his family, and, you know, he's going to do something cool next. I'm sure of it. So that's what we have to thank Kevin for. I mean, the business, the product as it is today would not exist. The business as it exists today would not exist. And so if you see Kevin at a conference or something, give him a high five and tell him thanks. If you want to send us a note, we'll pass it on to him for sure. That's on behalf of the company. On behalf of me, I mean, I'll just reiterate. I mean, like, I was in a bad place when he was generous and said that he believed in me. And, like, that was the thing. Like, he believed in me at a time when I did not believe in myself. And so I will always be grateful for that. And so I'll just say, Kevin, you know, we love you. We're going to miss you, but we appreciate everything you've done to make this company what it is. And, you know, thanks to everyone else who's been there also along the way. I think we have a lot of great things coming for us, but it's nice to look back every now and then and thank the people like Kevin who really made it all possible. Thanks.